Are you a technician who wants to set yourself apart? Then the Trusted Technician podcast is for you. I'm Derek Hoferter, coach and trainer at SBE. And on this podcast, we will have experienced HVAC coaches and trainers, as well as top performing technicians, all sharing their tips and strategies to help you be more successful. Welcome back to another episode of the Trusted Technician podcast. This is Coach Derek, and today, as our guest, we have Phillip. Phillip's joining me from Phoenix, Arizona. Hey, Phillip, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks, Derek. How are you?
I'm doing great. So, Phillip, to get started, why are you an HVAC technician?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I think what kind of led me into this path was just a desire to be able to take care of people and to be able to help people make sure that they're safe and comfortable in their home. I wanted that kind of unique challenge, the technical aspect, and wanted to also have that, deeply human interaction with people.
That's great. So how long have you been a technician for?
I've been a technician for about a year now.
Okay, great. A year. And what have you found as doing it that you just really enjoy about the work and about the job?
So I would say the most fascinating part is that every single day is a completely unique challenge, ranging from things as simple as like, who knows what this attic is going to be designed like when I get up there, to what sort of actual unique moments I'm going to run into in trying to make sure that the system is running ideally for the customer.
Okay, I love that. So, Phillip, what have you found then to be the most challenging parts of not only learning to be an HVAC tech, but just being an HVAC tech?
Well, I'll say this. I did start being an HVAC tech in the Valley, so Phoenix metro area, and I started in June. So, I decided to just dive headfirst into it and see how it was going to be and really just experience the hardest part, or going through and taking apart a full condenser to make sure that we're cleaning that condenser from all of the dust and dirt that gets built up when it's 115 degrees and it's the 15th day in a row that it's 115 degrees. Those are some of the unique challenges that we run into, especially here in the Valley. The heat that we go through just to make sure that the customer is cooling properly and is that they can have that level of comfort is one of the biggest challenges. But I'll tell you, Derek, it's also one of the biggest rewards there.
Yeah. So starting in June, you just ripped the Band-Aid off right there, right? You just full on went for it. Okay. So that's good. Cause then, it can only get better from there. So you mentioned the rewarding piece is helping people be cool, helping, them be comfortable in their house. You do really well, Phillip, on maintenance visits. I was looking at your numbers, around a $900 average ticket on maintenance. What is your overall approach or mindset when you're showing up to a house to run maintenance for them?
So I think that the number one thing that I learned when I got here, it was the biggest lesson. And it was something that I gathered while working with one of my favorite techs here, Nick Ochoa. He taught me the power of just slowing down. In this industry, especially somewhere like the Valley that it gets so hot, we have this burning desire to go as fast as possible, to just get it done and get out. And learning from him that taking the moment to understand what's happening with the machine, understand what really matters to the customer, and being able to help them make those connections throughout and showcasing exactly what it is that we're doing. That way, these customers understand so much more of why we're here. That's why things that we do, like taking the videos, are so important, and being able to sit there and explain it to the customers in a really easy way what's happening with the machine and why it is that the suggestions that we're making are here. And then nobody likes spending money, Derek. That's not a thing. Nobody's ever woken up that morning and been like, you know what I want to do? Spend $1,000 on my HVAC machine. Nobody. Okay. But people like to have their AC and their furnaces. They want them to work, and they want them to work in the long haul, and they want them to operate efficiently. So helping them understand how these different scenarios affecting their machine has made a huge difference in the ability for them to be like, okay, that makes sense. I get why it is that I need to do these repairs, or I need to do this preventative maintenance, especially. So I think that's the biggest lesson that I learned, was just slow down.
Yeah, that's good. Slow down. So when you are slowing down, how long should a maintenance take? Like, what in your mind, like what's a good time duration do you think that you really need to actually do a good, proper, thorough maintenance for somebody?
Well, Derek, I won't lie to you. You know, here at Georgia, I'm probably one of the slowest techs. So we're looking, the 2-3 hour mark if nothing goes wrong. And that has a lot to do with just even the conversations that I'm having with the customers, the in-betweens and the check-ins and the connections that you make with each customer makes or break whether they trust you and they trust what you're doing out there. There's obviously a fine line. You have to understand your customer to know, like, hey, are we going to spend a little too much time talking about that painting on the wall? There's the intricacies of these conversations that can go from trustworthy to, why are you here? You've been here for so long. Have you done anything?
Yeah,
So
sure.
you have to watch yourself on those. But, I think the 2 to 3 hour mark on a unit is really important. It's given me so many opportunities to make sure that these customers really deeply understand what I'm there for and how much time these maintenances should take. A lot of these customers are used to 15-minute quote unquote maintenances. If somebody came in, checked your pressures, it was just like, hey, looks great, I'm out.
Yeah, I call those hit and runs.
Exactly. Hit and runs nails it. It's just like, I can't even fathom being with the training that I got, everything that I was taught. I don't even understand how a maintenance can be done in 45 minutes, let alone 20. You can't call that a maintenance.
Yeah, that's a kick it and sniff it, but they're definitely not, maintaining it in that amount of time, right?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. I love what you're saying about, like with talking about the painting, right? The fine line between being thorough, slowing down, and wasting somebody's time, the perception of that. So I love that. And I love that it seems like you kind of wear there with pride the designation of slowest tech on that. But your average ticket, though, suggests, though, that you're not wasting anyone's time. Your average ticket suggests that it's a very good use of your time. So as you're kind of going through there, what are some of your favorite like questions or conversations to have with the homeowner that's kind of helping them understand what you're doing?
Oh, that's a hard question there. I had so many conversations throughout the day. And to be honest, a lot of the times I walk into these homes and I have no plan. I have no set. Every human that I've ran into has been very unique. Every person I've talked with, every home that I've walked through, every attic, every system. So you just never know what you're going to run into. So following the path of, honestly, a lot of times just your heart. And I feel like letting the situation, the moment you knock on that door, roll out the red carpet, and you say hello for the first time in person, deeply guide how this conversation and how this maintenance is going to go. And you really just have to take it one step at a time. And when you do that and you don't create a pre-plan, to this maintenance, it makes it so much more natural, and it just makes it easier to do these deep dives and to truly understand what the customer is really wanting to get from that maintenance. And one of the things I learned when I first started was sometimes looking at the history before you even knock can ruin everything for you. Getting those ideas of how this is going to go and where you're going to go with it can destroy anything that you're going to actually accomplish there.
So try not to replay it out in your head in some like ideal type of scenario there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously then you must be good at kind of reading people and kind of reading the room a little bit in order to be able to operate that way. There takes some skill there. How do you handle people though? Or do you ever, kind of get the feeling when you first get there that they're kind of anxious or worried that you are going to find things with their system? It's kind of like a little bit of I kind of view it as like going to the dentist. Like, please don't find anything. Please don't find anything. Right? Because it's going to be painful and expensive if you find anything. So I don't know. Do you sense that often from people, and kind of how do you go about handling that?
Derek, all the time. To be frank, it's probably one of the hardest parts of the job is being the dentist. We're doing preventative maintenance. We're doing, repair structure. And if we're not doing, no cools and no heat, then people are hoping that we don't find anything. And sometimes you got to bring that bad news. And again, it depends on the customer. Some people have a really good, charming attitude towards that. Some people look at you and instantly they're just like, there's the machine. And you just feel, you're like, okay, he just wants me to go in, dive in, look at it, and just be straight with him and be straight with her, and we'll figure it out. But dealing with the people that are so anxious about finding something, it's helping them understand it no matter where this day goes, that we're only here to help them and to help them make sure that they're going to be comfortable at all times. What's the point of me coming in and just telling you everything's fine? You want me to lie to you? Nobody wants to be lied to either.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to have just future anxiety, future anger when those problems that they lied to you about no longer are a problem now.
Yeah.
And so I feel that helping people understand exactly that we're there to help is the make or break to help reduce that anxiety. And again, that also comes down to having those natural conversations and making them more comfortable with your existence there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even need to worry about that direct anxiety that they have because it's always going to be there. So just help them be comfortable.
Yeah. If we extend the dentist, analogy out a little bit too, like if my dentist did say, nope, everything's fine, everything looks good, and then like 3 weeks later, like I wake up with horrible pain or I crack my tooth, I'm gonna be like, what the heck, man? Like, you're right. So yeah, even if I didn't want to know something's wrong, I would rather deal with it before it turns into an emergency.
Exactly. And it goes back to what we talked about earlier, where nobody wakes up in the morning and wants to spend money on an AC system. It's not a want, but it is a need. And helping people feel comfortable with what you're letting them know is the key.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier that, you've got a great average ticket on maintenances, around $900. What are the things that people are typically doing on maintenances? Like, what are some of the more common things that you find that people are doing to either extend the life of their system or, maybe some of it is avoiding emergencies, but what's a normal maintenance visit or kind of an average maintenance visit for you kind of look like with the work that you end up doing for the homeowner?
That is an impossible question to answer, Derek, because, again, it goes back that every single one's so unique, but, we run into things from, the simple addition of start assist kits to making sure that, their system especially is clean. and making sure that the ducts are covered. One of the big ones, got an example from the other day, we were showing signs of bearings on an outdoor fan motor that were wearing out. That's all I let him know. And he was just, no, if summer's coming, change it out right now. And, it was like, okay, that's beautiful. Like, I really appreciate that you're thinking so far forward with me right now. Letting the customers know what you're seeing is the biggest thing. Instead of being like, hey, you're going to explode 1 week from now if you don't fix this. That nobody enjoys that. And one of my favorite things is just letting the customer know too, like, hey, I cannot tell you exactly how this is going to do. I do not have magic within me to be like, the HVAC sprinkles are telling me right now that your system will die in 49 days if you don't fix this. What I can tell you is, in my experience and from what I've seen, these are some of the things that are causing to it, and help them understand, especially car analogies helps people a lot. Understand that, like, listen, your brakes are squealing right now. Can you drive with those brakes? Sure. Should you? Probably not. What's going to happen to the rest of your car when those brakes go? And helping them understand those things leads to that outdoor fan motor, getting that start assist, making sure that we get all of the dirt out of their system, help the lungs of that outdoor coil breathe better. We want to be efficient. Why would we go and get a SEER 17, SEER 20 and be like, well, leave the dirt?
Yeah. I love the way your brain works, Phillip, of like, it's all the clues around there. Just like you said, right? If someone's going to spend a lot of extra money for a better unit, that probably tells you something about, just overall how they think, how they make decisions. And yeah, it wouldn't make any sense to get a super high SEER unit and then let it get dirty. It doesn't make any sense. So Phillip, I know it's going to be warm again today. You've got calls and stuff to do. Thanks for taking some time. So just one final question before you have to go, Phillip. For technicians that are listening to this, what kind of piece of advice might you have that you've learned, or something that you can share to other techs?
It all comes back to kind of the theme of this whole conversation, and that's breathe, slow down, listen, eat snacks.
Eat snacks. I'm so there with you, man. I'm so there. That's such wise words, Phillip. There. So Phillip, thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Derek.
Thank you for listening to the Trusted Technician Podcast. If you would like to learn more about SBE, you can find us online at sbeodyssey.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, we would appreciate it if you would leave us a review. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.